At the last two Holyrood elections under the leadership of Ruth Davidson and Douglas Ross, the Scottish Conservatives finished a strong second. But 8 months out from the next contest, the outlook for Russell Findlay, Scotland's current top Tory, looks much bleaker. The party trails Reform UK in the opinion polls, and 3 of its MSPs have quit. For the latest party leader interview, Russell Findlay joined us in the studio. Russell Findlay, how difficult is it leading the Scottish Conservatives just now?
Well, it's been a challenge. I've been in the job for less than a year. When I took over the party, I knew it was going to be difficult. We'd just come out of the worst election result in a couple of 100 years. Everybody knew that we faced extreme challenges. This is why we have to work tirelessly to rebuild trust with the public and rebuild our party from the ground up. We need to show people that we're listening, hold our hands up when we got things wrong, and focus on the issues that matter to people out there.
You've got the worst poll ratings of any leader at Holyrood. Kemi Badenoch has the worst poll ratings of any leader at Westminster. Have you considered your own position at all?
I saw a poll rating just at the weekend which put me in a more favourable position than John Swinney and Anna Sarwar, and I don't put much stock in these, whether they're good news or bad news. I've been in the job less than a year. We absolutely need to focus on what matters to people in the real world, the paying public. People feel disconnected from Holyrood. They feel disillusioned with politics generally. And we've got a government in Edinburgh that's been in power for more than 18 years. And I would say by every measure, things have got worse. People are paying more and getting less. And that's why we need to fix that.
But you're finding it challenging. Kemi Badenoch's clearly finding it challenging too. Which of you do you think will last the longest in leadership?
We're both in it for the long term.
How long though?
I'm determined to do what I said I would do, which is change our party, rebuild public trust, and put forward our common sense conservative values. There's so many people across Scotland who share our common sense conservative values, and it's up to us to show that we are different to other Holyrood parties. We are listening and we get it.
But people maybe are thinking that, but they're switching to Reform. You seem to be struggling in the wake of the rise of Reform. They've eclipsed you on the right, haven't they?
Well, it's undoubtedly a very volatile and unpredictable political landscape. I think we're seeing that worldwide. It's not just a Scotland issue. It's not even just a UK-wide issue. It's global. And I'm
But
determined.
we're focusing on the Scottish situation because we're 8 months out from the Scottish Parliament election.
But all I can do, I can't start trying to think about second-guess other parties. What I can do is reconnect with our voters, come up with policies that will be to help people in their everyday lives.
But Reform are taking over with right-wing voters from you. You've lost councillors, you've lost an MSP to Reform now. They've eclipsed you on the right, haven't they?
But this is why we are changing. We realise that we have made
changing in response to Reform?
No, we have made mistakes in the past. We will hold our hands up. I'm happy to do so. I'm not a career politician. I've come to this late in life, and I see a Scottish Parliament with all these powers to improve people's lives. And the Scottish Government is focused on fringe issues like gender self-ID or this constant agitation
to break up the United Kingdom. But Reform says exactly the same as you've just said. Have you considered any kind of idea of an electoral pact with Reform for next year?
So we're focused on the economy.
But have you considered? And they say exactly the same. Have you considered any kind of electoral pact with Reform
Absolutely
for next year?
If you listen to what Nigel Farage said recently, he would be happy to have another 5 years of an SNP government. There's not a Conservative
he said
in the land.
On the day that Graham Simpson defected from your party to his party, he said that his top priority was beating the SNP and getting them out of government next year.
He can't make his mind up. He's attempting to be all things to all people, and I'm glad the media are finally giving them the scrutiny that they deserve. If you look at some of their spending commitments around benefits, these are not Conservative policies. And the fact they stood in the general election candidates who were pro-independence really says it all.
They stood in Hamilton, they got an awful lot more votes than you did. If you hadn't stood, they might have won.
I disagree with that. And we are not going anywhere.
You got 6% in Hamilton, that would have been enough for them to win it.
We are not going anywhere. We are the sensible voice of moderate centre-right politics in Scotland, and that's where we will remain.
You say you're not going anywhere in the polls, you're going down.
But just because times are difficult, you don't walk off the pitch. If you're using football as an analogy, if things are going badly, you don't just give up. I fight hard. I raise my game. I fight tirelessly to put forward what we believe in, because what we believe in truly does matter.
Jeremy Balfour, another of your MSPs who quit the party but not to go to another party over the summer, says that you've fallen into the trap of reactionary politics, that you're allowing policies to be dictated by what other parties are saying and you're chasing cheap headlines.
Well, I wholly disagree respectfully with Jeremy.
Have you spoken to him about it?
We are not. I've spoken to Jeremy
since he left.
No, I've not spoken to him since he left, but I've spoken to him prior to doing so. He sent me his letter explaining his position. I absolutely don't agree with that. And if one of the criticisms appears to be that we are seeking coverage of what we are seeking to do, that's not a negative. Every political party.
He describes it as cheap headlines. Well, he says that that your policy, you're allowing policy to be dictated by other parties. He's got a point. You've abandoned net zero after Reform abandoned net zero. Reform say drill, baby, drill. Kemi Badenoch says she wants to max out the North Sea oil and gas. It's just the same, isn't it? You're just following them.
We have not abandoned net zero. That's not true. What we have done is looked at what the Scottish Government are saying in respect of net zero. They're saying that Scotland will be net zero by 2045. We know that's unaffordable. If they were being honest with people, they would admit that that's unaffordable. And what we want to do is extract the maximum amount of our natural resources on our own doorstep as possible, not least to preserve the oil and gas jobs in the northeast of Scotland.
You've got 8 months. How do you win back voters? How do you get them to even pay attention to you?
Well, it's tough. I get that. I understand that. We are listening. Again, I'm new to this, relatively speaking. I understand people's frustrations. People look at the Parliament and think it's not working for them. I get frustrated sitting in there. There's too much time spent on fringe issues. Let's talk about the economy. Let's talk about how we can reduce...
You didn't last Thursday at First Minister's Questions. You asked about the Constitution. You could have asked about the issues that you're talking about.
On the very same morning, John Swinney gave a speech telling Scotland that what mattered to him most of all was breaking up the United Kingdom.
And therefore it was what mattered most to you as well. You could have asked about the economy.
As we often do, but as the leader of the opposition, it was my duty to call out his obsession with breaking up the UK, and what he's doing, as you know well, I find well, and what people watching this know fine well, he's talking about the Constitution to distract from the SNP's dismal record in government.
You want to save £650 million and put that into cutting taxes. How much would that cut off the tax bill? How much would that cut off our income tax?
So during the budget, the most recent Scottish Government budget, my colleague put forward to the government detailed costed and funded proposals around how we would reduce the tax burden, not just for individuals but for businesses too.
So how much would that 650 million save folk?
Well, right now, if you're earning just over £30,000 a year in Scotland, you would be paying more. You're paying more income tax than you are elsewhere in the UK.
So how much would you save?
And you're not getting
how
any
much would
more.
You save?
It depends on the level of tax you're paying, but there would be savings for everybody over that amount of money.
But you can't tell people how much.
I don't have the figures to hand, but there are. Depending on how much tax you pay, you will save money.
You also want to cut welfare spending. What would you cut?
We would look at this in its entirety. I think people look at the numbers. In Scotland, welfare spending is going to more than double.
So what would you cut?
From around, well, let me finish, more than around £4 billion, and it's going to soon reach £9 billion. It will become the second
Stop telling me the numbers. Tell me what you're going to cut.
Well, I think people need to know the numbers.
People want to know what you'd cut.
But to realise that this is not sustainable. We cannot keep taxing people more.
What would you cut?
To pay for a benefits bill that's going to rise and rise and rise. Well, that's going to be subject of discussion with my colleagues.
You don't know what you would cut?
We are going to formulate a manifesto where we will put forward detailed proposals.
Would you cut the Scottish Child Payment?
There's huge savings to be had.
Would you cut the Scottish Child Payment?
I've got no plans to do so, but if you let me finish, if you look at the waste in the Scottish Government, if you're looking at the price of Barlinnie Prison is going to be £1 billion. It was supposed to cost £100 million. If you look at the price of the 2 ferries, you're looking at almost £500 million. The government is serially incompetent, is wasting people's money, and we can put a focus on saving money, reducing the tax burden and firing up the economy.
Russell Findlay, thanks for joining us in Scotland tonight.
Thank you.